And we're live. Welcome to the Best in Slot podcast, a Warcraft podcast by the community for the community. I'm your main host, Sparty. I'm here with my co-host, Midgettes. Hello, Midgettes. How are you? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. How are you?
I'm fantastic. As you can tell, I'm sure I've lost my voice, working today and yelling at kids. But I'm happy to be here, and I've got a bit of a radio voice going on, which is always awesome.
Well, you also lost your beard, and I'm still
yes,
still
this
dealing
is
with
true.
that.
I did lose my beard. I don't know. I was really tired of it, and I got bored. I mean, I'm sure I'll just grow another one for tomorrow if people really miss it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's fine.
I don't know. The last time you
face.
wanted to grow a beard, we gave you a hard time about it. So
yeah,
you might
I know.
not get it back.
Well, just change is tough, right? Whether it's beard or whether it's pre-patch stuff, change is definitely a difficult thing to get around, right? And people are used to it, and I was used to it. And I haven't had a baby face for like 2 years, and here I am, and it's back. So,
Well, welcome back, Sparty.
Thanks. So this is episode 34, and today we'll be talking about our experience. But yes, you wanted to interject with something. Was it beer related?
I was just going to interject that we were going to start off with the bad part, but I forgot that you didn't say what episode it was.
34. We're at 34. This is awesome.
Yeah. So can we then, since we did that, can we just skip the next part?
No, because it isn't a fantastic joke. Are you guys ready for this? My viewer count is about to skyrocket after this joke. Here we go.
Yeah, into the dumps.
That's not funny. So my joke. I may have stolen this from somewhere, but it's mine now. I started reading a horror novel in Braille. Something bad is about to happen. I can feel it. Get it? Because I'm reading it in Braille. I can feel it.
You know the fact, Sparty, that you have to explain the jokes?
It makes it 10 times better.
Leads me to believe they're not as good as you think they are.
It's fantastic. People just to be as funny as I am. That's it.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's it. That's all
right.
it is.
If we could all only be as funny as you.
Well, it's tough. It's tough. Yeah, anyway.
I agree with Feeling Salt. He said, I think even the crickets ran away.
Wow. That is a burn. Okay, let's move on. Instead of making fun of Sparty here, let's move on. So, Tuesday's coming. Tuesday, 8.0 pre-patch.
We're going to have a full day of pre-patch.
Well, full day is right. I mean, it might just be a full day of maintenance, but we'll see what happens. So, yes, the 17th.
Well, sometimes they shock us and they bring it up early and then that crashes all day. And sometimes it doesn't come up until 6 o'clock. It's always that big surprise. So you never know for sure what's going to happen.
But here's the thing. They've learned over the years to follow this one philosophy. Underpromise, overdeliver. And that way people are always happy. Right? Like, just say it's going to be down the entire day.
Last time I seem to recall the last patch. They said it was going to be until 6 or 3 or whatever, and then they got up at about 11. And then they took it back down about 6 times. So.
Well, things happen. It could be a typo in the code, right? For those of you that get that reference. Yeah, I mean, typos happen.
Typos happen. So anyway, but we spent a lot of time last week talking about it. But we just want to touch on a few things. How are you doing on the field medic and the other things that you've been working on in 8.0?
So I was working on it this past weekend. Field medic is finally done. I think Thursday, Friday, I was working on it sometimes offline, and I hated it. It was such a bad grind. It was, when I was doing it on Friday, I was getting nothing dropping for at least an hour, and I said to myself, this is worse than the insane, because I did the insane, and that was fine, because you could see that constant little bits of progress, a little bit at a time. But this is just RNG crap. Like, I would get the same stupid note dropping over and over and over, or I wouldn't have enough first aid to actually complete the damn quest, so I had to drop it and then go get it again. So it was really frustrating. But yes, that is finally done. A big thanks to a lot of my, Zeros to Heroes and stream players for helping me and giving me some luck, because it was, finished it quickly last night. It was great. What about you?
I would honestly love to see, because when I'd get them leveling throughout the X-Pack, I'd be like, I don't have time to deal with that. It would sit in my quest log for a while, and then I'd run out of room, and I'd lose. I'd drop the quest. And I would love to see statistically how many people had their field medic achievement before this week.
Oh,
And I would like to see how many of them got up this weekend.
for sure. A huge amount would have skyrocketed. Absolutely.
But it was pretty horrible. I got lucky because I made use of Aylin's luck, and so
And
we
Arcane
got
Mage
that
Explosions,
done.
right?
Yes, and we got done today.
That's awesome.
And if I don't kill anything for a while, I'm good with that. Let me tell you.
Yeah, yeah. I'm done grinding things out for a little while, and I've got other things on my list to do now.
What are the other things on your list?
Well, the other things that I finished were Brawlers Guild, and that was again with the help of the stream, and that was fantastic. We did that stupid. There's this one achievement where you're basically naked, and it puts the group of you naked, and you have to run from raptors. And there is monkeys chasing you, and there is panthers chasing you, and that damn whatever Stranglethorn white tiger is chasing you, and it's tough. Like, you can bubble, sure, but you have to get lucky, and you just have to like not attack things. You can cheese it apparently by just having lots of hunters because their pets can attack and kill these things. Or if you have a brewmaster, you throw down one of those ox statues and it just taunts everything, and that's totally fine. But I wasn't able to cheese it. It took me like 10 times with this group of players, and we were just cheering each other on and trying to outlast each other from these damn raptors. It was awesome, but we got that achievement as well. And Brawlers Guild is complete now for this season, so I'm happy.
Well, I think I've got to do at least one more level to try to get the pet, but I don't think it's going out tomorrow. It's just speculated that we're going to lose it. Is that the case?
I think so. I can't recall. I know this season is ending of Brawlers Guild. I can't recall if it's pre-patch or if it's with the actual expansion, but I would guess soon. Right? Sooner rather than later.
I would guess soon too, but after the field medic achievement, I'm taking a break.
It's totally doable, though. I mean, even on a hype-up server like Storm Rage, I was in a line of 6 or 7 and, chatting with the stream in between, and it made it work. So it was good.
All right. Well, the Profession Squish is coming tomorrow. First aid is going out.
So tell me what the Profession Squish. For those of you that don't understand what the Profession Squish is, can you go through that, Midgettes, since you're more of a Profession expert than I am?
Well, honestly, what happens is they're basically taking the numbers back down. So it's much like a stat squish.
Okay.
And so each X pack that you finished, you'll be at. So if you got up to Warlords of Draenor, you'll be at 100. If you got up to Legion, you'll be at 200. I did find out from talking to Lockhart tonight that on beta he tested it. And if you're sitting at 799, which I am on mining right now, I will be 199.
Oh,
and then
that sucks.
Going forward, but basically it'll just be the full X pack. So because I was worried I was going to lose those, but there is just nowhere else I'm getting that 1 point unless there's a quest up tomorrow. And I would really hate to lose all 99 levels of mining because mining was really painful this X pack.
Oh yeah, I know.
But it's basically just a stat squish. It doesn't really change anything. It's just a stat squish.
Okay. Yeah, and so the first aid is going away, and all of our first aid achievements are going to become feats of strength now. Mage towers, which everybody's been trying frantically complete, are going away. The other hidden appearances are not just the mage towers themselves, correct?
That is correct. If you have started it and gotten the first appearance, you're still able to go back and get all of the others. And the Warcraft devs have answered that question probably a half a dozen times a day. So
makes sense. Okay. What about pet battles?
Well, pet battles, there's going to be some changes, but the big change is the currency is changing. So your current charms are not going to have the same value after tomorrow. So even Muffinus was saying, spend those charms now. I would recommend investing in the ultimate charms for the full boost to 25. And then whatever else you have, get the convert to rare.
So I've got like 260 of these charms. What can that get me?
Well, that can get you the ultimate, I think, are 45. But if you don't have all of the pets, which I think you do, I think I bought them for you, with my charms. But if you don't, get all of the toys and stuff out of there too, because the value of them is going to change. So you won't be able to you'll be able to buy more today than you will tomorrow. So check the vendor and make sure you have all the toys and all of the pets. And then after that, I would go to the stones.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, I know there's been a lot of talk in all of the guilds with the changes to personal loot. And specifically the mount dropping from Mythic Argus. What you had talked about it in Death Jesters, and you'd shown this conversation. There is some question as to whether they're going to be tradable, and it's unsubstantiated and it's speculate. Can you kind of sort of expand on that? Because I think people need to sort of plan for this.
Yeah, so I don't know how many viewers or listeners have heard. I mean, we all know personal loot is coming. Typically, the way personal loot mounts work is they are tradable currently. So if you guys ever do the Nightbane mount in Karazhan, that is on personal loot regardless, and it'll drop in somebody's inventory, but it is still tradable. The other thing is, Gul'dan mounts, and we tested this ourselves. We ran it on personal loot, and it dropped for somebody that didn't have it, and they were able to trade it to somebody else. That's my understanding. That's what's going to work on Argus. I've seen some conversations between players and GMs have said, no, that's a bug. They're not supposed to be tradable. The way the questions were phrased in these conversations that I've read, the GMs may have been uninformed. They're saying though it shouldn't be traded. GMs won't move them. We actually had what we thought was a bug when I looted a mount and wasn't able to trade it. We were eventually able to get the GM to transfer to move it to the correct person. But again, we don't know, right? Maybe it's a way to get rid of mount sales. I don't know. I mean, it should be tradable. We're not sure. We're going to find out on Tuesday, regardless, whether these things can be tradable or not. And I'm sure things will be hot fixed regardless.
Well, I'm going to suggest that you do your mount run on Wednesday, but yeah. just to be safe. But again, a lot of these things, it's really hard with the stuff that comes because the information's coming so fast and it's coming from so many sources. And unless you have an actual blue post to confirm, it is just that, speculation. But be cognizant that it could be potentially a problem and plan accordingly. It's sort of like going into the patch day. Plan that it's going to be horrible. Nothing's going to work, and plan your day accordingly. And that way you're not shocked when you get into raid and nothing works, or you're DCing, or none of the add-ons work, or the thousands of things that can go wrong on patch day.
So many things will go wrong. Expect it all to break. There'll be bugs. There'll be, I don't know, Cthulhu's going to come out of the woodwork and be dropped in. You'll see Ragnaros coming in for Antaurus. It'll be all kinds of bugs and weird crap going on and expected. Not that, Blizzard is known for really bad patches. It's crap happens, right? It happens, and that's to be expected, and it's a massive, massive game. Things may not always work perfectly, whether they're small glitches or big ones. There's been some really smooth patches in the past. Where they're up really early and it's smooth as silk. Like they're such quick and awesome releases. But plan for a really bad day, and if it's a really good day, awesome, right? Underpromise overdeliver.
Well, and if it's a really good day, be sure to thank those devs because they put a lot of hard work into it. Oh, yeah. Hey, did you see that WoW had put out some great guides of how to play your class for 8.0?
This is fantastic. Yeah. So these WoW again. They've gone through a lot of their theory crafters and their writers. I didn't do the Paladin one. It was Palinol this time. But yeah, he's done, I don't know, a lot of these guys. They're all done. Some people that we've had on the stream as well, whether it was Greyhound, and who else? Somebody else we had Kib here as well. So we had a number of these guys on here, and they're great guide writers. So if you're sort of not sure what's happening, you haven't been playing beta, these are great overviews of how to really play your class. What auras are changing for Holy Paladins? What things are going away? The HP boost and all this other stuff. So they're really good. It's a great resource to really update yourselves as to sort of what's going on there. And I linked it in chat for you guys. But yeah, take a look. Great compilation by Wowhead. Great work by the writers themselves to put it all together for us.
Yeah, they're a great asset to the community. I also saw that come tomorrow, I'm going to be able to buy with my my essences specific legendaries. Now, we've only got a few weeks left. I'm a healer. Velens is the best thing. Shorty, for example, doesn't have Velens. Is that what I should buy, or should I be buying something else? What would be the strategy for my alts or whatever and the legendaries I should get.
Well, it depends. Partly depends on what spec you plan on leveling with. In the past, players would, if you're a healer, level through dungeons and just grind dungeons away. And sure, those might help. Remember, legendaries are going to be not working, I believe, at 116. So they're going to help you a little bit. They're going to help you for roughly 5 levels. So a little bit of the leveling experience. That being said, I mean, probably DPS ones or disc ones if you're a priest. Healer ones like Velen's probably not going to be that worthwhile. For instance, if you want to run around really quickly, I might run around with Agrimar's Stride because I can run that much more quickly from quest point to quest point while I'm in combat. So look at things that are going to help you level if you're looking to go that way. There should be way more essences dropping now, given the pre-patch coming in. So that's something that was mentioned as well in Yitzian's post.
Now, what's this about Amanthuls? I've heard speculation that we're going to be able to get Amanthuls. No, has anybody seen? I think we've got 5 people that have that.
I have never seen Amanthuls dropping. Apparently, a bunch of the Zeros to Heroes teams have them. Not a single Death Jesters player has ever seen one drop, I guess, well, in our raid team. So, yeah, I mean, there's a 50-50 chance that Amanthuls will be viable. Who knows? It'll either be viable or not. That's not how statistics work, but, it's... the probability is also low.
That's great news.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing that they mentioned with 8.0, and there's been a lot of discussion about it, but they said to make sure you had your latest DirectX 12 drivers updated. So again, we didn't really cover this last week, but you want to make sure you have your drivers updated. It's going to be new content, and there's a lot of changes within the infrastructure. So,
the big note there is the AMD and Intel GPUs will default to DirectX 12, and NVIDIA drivers will remain at DirectX 11 with the option to update at a later time. But regardless, update your drivers. So get that done sooner rather than later.
So you're a big collector's edition person. Are you?
Yeah.
Do you get all the collector editions or no?
No. So I mean, I have the classic one because I needed it. Like I saw, I remember when I first saw that beautiful shining collector's edition at that Best Buy that 10 a.m. on that Tuesday, and I got like 4 other copies for my friends and the collector's edition for myself. I'm like, I want this. I'm gonna need this. I bought other collectors since, but I haven't really, I don't know, I haven't really cared too much about them. Part of it is space. They take up a lot of space. Part of it is I've been trying. When I was buying the next expansion, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna play one more expansion. I don't need to buy the collector's edition, and that was like 10 years ago. And so here I am, still buying. I'm just getting the deluxe ones now. So I want the mounts. I want that kind of stuff. And I'm paying with gold anyway, so it doesn't matter. Right. I don't have the space for those kind of things. I'm happy with my classic or my vanilla, whatever, collector's edition. But yeah, I mean, it's available for pre-order now. And I believe if you buy deluxe now, you can change the stuff, or they're going to refund you the difference, right, of the deluxe when you buy the collectors and you put in the new code, something like that.
I believe so. I think they have some sort of a buyback or credit for it, but I don't know all the details because I have always done the digital deluxe. So, well, the digital. I moved up to digital deluxe when they started putting the pet. I realized the pets were in there.
Of course.
And then on other news, the last thing is BlizzCon extended the name change for all of those people who bought tickets and are not going to make it or whatever. They extended it one more week to the 20th. So if you were panicking, you've got a few more days to procrastinate and do it at the last minute on the 20th.
So are you going to BlizzCon this year? I know there's not a lot of players going this year from the Zeros to Heroes and DJ community. I don't know how many of our viewers are planning on going to BlizzCon this year. Some regulars, obviously.
No, my son is getting married, and so I will have the grand puppy. And probably will be broke from helping to pay for wedding.
Awesome.
No BlizzCon for me. What about you, Sparty?
So I always say every year that last year's BlizzCon will be my last one. We'll see what happens this year, but I will hype this. Now, I haven't told Midgettes yet. There will be it's not in our podcast notes, by the way. There will be a really awesome announcement for BlizzCon. Yeah, I mean, you guys have seen me stream from BlizzCon in the past. There's some really cool stuff that's going to happen this year at BlizzCon. I'm super excited to announce it. Even Midges doesn't know. It's all pretty keenly under wraps. But yes, I'm sure we'll hype it at a future date. Just,
Well,
planting that seed.
so you don't know, and I'm not going to tell you. So, but be hyped.
Yes,
I'm going to
yes. I
be
mean, I'm excited
annoyed
for this
because
thing.
you're not telling me.
I'm super excited, but very few people know. And the Blizzard universe is, yeah, it's gonna be some exciting stuff. Yeah, I mean, you guys know I have inside knowledge on all these kinds of things, right? So, just wait. I've got some really cool stuff.
So, you actually helped put together the podcast today, the content. I was busy doing a computer software upgrade at my office. So, what are we talking about today?
Computer software upgrade, meaning Field Medic, right?
Well, I got home and then worked on Field Medic. But
Gotcha.
no, this morning I went in and upgraded all of our software.
Fantastic. Yeah, so I put the notes together for a change. So I've got a couple here under my belt now. But really, the topic I want to talk about is our experience, and part of it revolves around things I've heard and things I've experienced. There was a here tweet by I can't remember what his name is. Posty file. I don't know what it is. I'll find it somewhere. But it was in a thread that I was watching on my Twitter, and this was in regard to Field Medic, because some people were really stressed about Field Medic, and it was just getting them really anxious. And I'm like, well, that's just really weird. And so I responded to one guy, but the other tweet basically said, so what motivates you when you decide what content to do? I managed to skirt most of it, but I know that there was a day early on when that was my major focus. And then he says, my thing is a really deep-seated in real life experience. So I know if something will be gone forever, that's what I'm going to do it. So he was more alluding to Field Medic, things that are unobtainable. That's what he wants to get. But really, the crux of this podcast today is, the time. How do you spend the time? Is it worth it? Right? For those of you grinding out Field Medic, Brawlers Guild, fishing, whatever it is it worth it? Is all this raiding crap worth it? I mean, awesome stuff, worth it, right? What motivates you when you decide what content to do, right? Whether it's pet battling or whatever. Me personally, I've been getting things that are no longer obtainable, right? Like Field Medic, Brawlers Guild, that kind of stuff. I have lots of rare patterns that no longer drop. Obviously, I have my Corrupted Ashbringer, which is unobtainable. Lots of really old, legacy stuff. Like I have old vanilla Kazakh gear and Onyxia gear, and I love those little things because, part of them remind me of the memories and experiences. But Midges, are you catching up on anything? We talked a little bit about that kind of stuff. Is there other things on your bucket list that you're trying to finish up here?
Well, I'm trying to get all my professions because every X-Pack since I started this game, I have every single profession maxed out. And so this tier was a little bit harder for me because you had to do so much content to max out your professions. And some of those characters that I play on, like the rogue, I'll use the rogue. You guys never want to see me on a rogue in anything with groups because I am horrible at rogue. I can pickpocket. But so I have tunes like that where I'll go and just sort of do my thing, and the rogue is to, open lock boxes and pickpocket and have my professions. And so they put so much of the content for the professions behind it that it was really kind of a struggle this tier for me to work on professions. But I'm down to 3. I will have them all at 800 again before the end of the X pack. And that's one of my things. I like to collect rare patterns and, of course, my pets. But I went ahead and got the Field Medic. I wasn't going to get it because it was, at the time, I thought it was a silly achievement. But then I realized it was the only achievement in the professions that I didn't have.
Ah, yes. Yeah, I mean, people are completionists and people want those things. And, outside of, the Field Medic stuff, the pet battles, whatever, what about you guys as viewers? How do you decide to spend your time in game? What really motivates you to do it? Is it a thing or is it more of an experience? And with that, there's the assumption that, and this is more real life too, where things equal happiness, right? A new car, a new achievement, a server first, a new mount, that equals happiness. Well, I mean, research has really shown that to be false, right? If you can Google any of it, you can look at the Easterlin Paradox, all that stuff. And a lot of that is both with respect to money as well as time. And time is really what we're talking about in this podcast. And the goblins were right, when they said, time is money, friend. Because all of that is, right? Like time is money and money is time. And Well, what's most important? So, talking about the Easterlin Paradox, essentially they said that after our basic needs are met, right? So this is more, again, of a real life thing and money, where after your basic needs are met of food, whatever, shelter, money will only increase happiness to a certain point, you know, and after that, it's not really necessary. And that's, that's more or less true, right? There's been studies where it's like 55,000, and after that, the more money you make doesn't really make you that much happier. And we want to really apply this to Warcraft. So what this is going to say, it's because of these reasons that it's not really true, right? It's we don't need these things to be happy, right? It's not those things that make us happy. And the whole Easterlin Paradox was, well, in these really wealthy countries, why does happiness not correlate properly with the amount, that people are making relative to their GDP and everything else, right? It's you could be in a poorer country and still be happy, but why? That doesn't make sense, because these really wealthy countries have things. So, and it's really for these reasons. Number one, that happiness over material items quickly fades. And part of that is we adapt to things, right? New things are exciting at first, right? They're awesome. It's a new couch, it's a new car, it's whatever, right? But then you quickly adapt to things. Whether it's a new mount, it's a new title, right? A new toy, a new computer, achievement, whatever. Those things fade pretty quickly, because then you're chasing your next little, material bit of happiness, and that's not a long-lasting thing. So, that's really number one, right? These material things, these achievements, they don't really last.
Well, they don't. And, I changed with my son and things as we've gotten older of, don't get me things, let's go make memories.
Yes.
Let's go do something fun. But so many of the things that I have acquired in Warcraft, I have a story behind them. So like many of my pets, I can tell you exactly who gave it to me or what we did together to go get them. One of the achievements that I got, for my son and Peter, took me to my first PvP, which was amusing at best, and carried me through it to get me this achievement. I couldn't tell you what the achievement is. It was some holiday achievement. I just remember the fun and laughing as, my raiding son and the raid lead of his team, taking midgets for her first time into a PvP battleground to get this achievement, and their frustration through it. And I was laughing. And so those are the things you remember.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily that pet that makes you happy, but it's the experience of getting that pet, and it's the memory that is triggered, right? That experience that is triggered through that pet or through that mount or through the the goal that you've achieved, right? But moving on to number two, the experiences define your purpose and your passions, which means your daily activities in life and in Warcraft should be influenced by your purpose and passions, not by material possessions. And so I'll give this example. Let's say your favorite musician of all time is Bruce Springsteen. For some of your older folk, let's say it's Elvis Presley. And even though you have all of their albums and some of their shirts, posters, all those things, do all those things top seeing Bruce Springsteen or Elvis Presley or somebody else in concert? Probably not. Right? In fact, if someone offered you front row tickets in exchange for all your, Bruce Springsteen stuff, you'd probably take them up on that offer in a heartbeat, because it's that experience of seeing that person live, right?
Actually, I wouldn't. You want to know why?
Yes, tell me why.
Okay. So that memorabilia, because I still have my tickets from people like Bruce Springsteen, because I was a kid when they were popular. But I can tell you, so for example, that ticket, who I went with. And so it wasn't about Bruce Springsteen as much as I enjoyed him. It was about, I went with my best friend and what we did, and we got this, and we did this, and we did this. And the memories are in the memorabilia as much as they are in the concert.
Okay.
And so I'm not, so I would be one that wouldn't.
So the point there is is these tickets. So if you had never seen it, right, to build that experience, right? Let's say you had all these t-shirts, not the ticket that reminds you of the experience. It's all the other stuff, all the other records of Bruce Springsteen. Would you trade those for, I mean, obviously now you have that experience. Well, yeah, I think you would, right? You would trade all those, guitars or whatever you have, those t-shirts, for that show, for those tickets, and then you have these tickets to remind you of that experience. That's really the point. I mean, would you trade those tickets away for another, and the memory away for, another show? Probably not, right? And that's where, I'll agree with you. But a lot of these, so to number 3, the possessions that we have, whether it's the items, or let's say my Ashbringer or whatever, they don't contribute to social relationships. Well, what does that mean? Right? Well, we consume experiences directly with other people, and after, those experiences are gone, they're part of the stories that we tell. And we talk about story. She just shared the story, right? Midges just shared the story about her ticket with her friend, not things. You share the story of how I got it, not that I got it. Right? So great example for you guys here. Remember, how did I get Corrupted Ashbringer? People ask, how did you get that thing? Well, yeah, I got it for, because of this reason. But how? Well, I tell a story of, well, it was the last one, and BC was coming out, and my guild decided to give it to me instead of the Arms Warrior because of this. And that's really the story of it, right? Like, that's the experience. For those of you that...
Honestly...
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, well, for you, because I wasn't there in vanilla when you got your Corrupted Ashbringer, but I was there when you were giving them away when we had the transmog bug, and you did this incredible, it's one of my favorite videos, this incredible Ashbringer video with all of the people that had the transmogs going through that area and the choreography of it and everything. It was just incredible. So that's what I remember of your Corrupted Ashbringer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's those experiences that build those social relationships, right? And there's the video there in chat for you guys. But do you bond more with other people when discussing material possessions or with experiences? And again, think of the whole Bruce Springsteen or whatever example, right? When you run into a fellow fan, you have a certain bond and connection. For those of you that are, let's say, Towley fans or Asmongold fans, right? It's not that you guys are fans and you have his shirt or his Wendy's cup. It's, hey, remember that time Towley did this, or Sparty did this, or Asmongold did this, right? You can talk about the music and the concerts you've attended and how much the music has positively impacted your life. Those are the experiences and the things that you share, right? And that seems more of an interesting conversation than discussing your cars, gadgets, wardrobe, or whatever souvenirs you have, right? Like, hey, I got this shirt, right? But, well, how did you get that shirt? Like, what is the memory behind that, right? It's those experiences that really build those stories. And when
for example, you remember when Towley bubble hearthed, pushed the wrong key, hearth back to Dal, and you didn't know he wasn't in the raid, right? Those are the kinds of experiences you're talking about?
Well, one of my best Towley memories is him playing GTA, right? It was a super viral one where Towley is just driving his car in the airport, and this plane lands on it, and I mean, it flips over the car or something, and suddenly this massive airplane, he just takes it down because he clips one of the wheels of this airplane. And then he just looks, at the camera and says, oh, shit happens. And it was one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen. And if you guys haven't seen this clip, like it's so good. It's such a great clip. So these memories are really what's so important, right? These experiences are what we share with other people, right? Like me sharing that experience about Towley. It's not, the Hammer Squad or whatever, the golden one t-shirt I have in my closet. Like, yeah, okay, that's cool. Great. I'm happy to support Towley. I can talk to Towley or talk to people about Towley and those memories, but it's not the shirt itself. And when I share stories on stream with you guys, it's not of things, it's of experiences. When I talk about EverQuest with former players, or talk about vanilla things, or when I was on Brutal's show for a little while, Brutal Static, it's those experiences that we bond over, right? You guys hear me talking about EverQuest and Kunark and Velius and all that other stuff because I love those memories and those experiences. They were some of my best gaming experiences of all time. And
but you know what?
Yeah.
I was just sitting here thinking, so much of those experiences you've brought to life for us. So I was sitting there thinking, because I just adore Rootleaf, but I don't know him. I didn't raid with him. I don't have all these memories, but I have Sparty's memories of Rootleaf. And Rootleaf has a place in my heart forever because of it.
Absolutely. And, those are the kinds of things you bond over. And these moments that we make, those are what's memorable, the ones that we're talking about now, right? While the experiences are designed to be fleeting, they provide this high level of arousal and memorability thanks to the anticipation. So, what makes these memories awesome? Think of those of you in Mythic guilds, right? In Mythic guilds, you're wiping to a boss hundreds of times. You're getting closer and closer and closer, and eventually you kill it. And it's that anticipation of you getting so close, and that feeling. For those of you that have wiped so many times to a boss, and this is the attempt, you feel it. You've got the shivers, and I know some of you guys are getting the shivers right now just thinking about a certain boss. It's going to happen. This is going to be the kill. This is 2%. It's finally going to happen, and then you kill it. And if you guys have seen my videos or my kill reactions, like exactly what it is, right outside of Lei Shen. But I mean, all those. But
that's the one I remember the most.
the non-reaction of me just downing the whiskey. But you remember all those things.
You flipped it off first.
Yeah, like those nerd screams, right? Because that anticipation built. And then there's that high level of arousal and the memories made. And, I'll give you guys other examples here. Lurker Below. So Burning Crusade, Serpent Shrine Cavern, right? I've killed the boss. I remember some of the abilities here. I've killed it plenty of times. Do I remember the first kill, the loot that I got from him? Not really. What I do remember is a bunch of us with our fishing rods trying to fish up a boss, right? That is an experience. For those of you that were in Guild Survivor, that is an awesome experience example as well. It's not the 1 million gold or 2 million gold. I mean, many of you guys are listening, but yeah, there's only one person that's going to win, right? But it'll be those experiences and the stories and the challenge that you'll remember, the fun you had, right? Like, oh yeah, I remember Guild Survivor, or, when you talk to somebody else about, Death Jesters, Zeros to Heroes, whatever on YouTube. Oh yeah, I was in this guild. We did this awesome thing called Guild Survivor. You're going to be sharing those experiences. When I look at things like 4 Horsemen, when we did 4 Horsemen, it was 8 tanks. It was stupid ridiculous. We needed all these warriors with tier 3, 4-piece for the taunting. Plus, we had to go farm ZG. It's not that the kill that I remember and, the Ashbringer dropping. It's the time I spent farming this crap, and having fun in ZG with my guildmates, trying to farm this stupid trinket from that stupid water boss that I don't even remember the name, but I remember the trinket. I remember what we needed it for and the experience. Same thing with Onyxia. Onyxia was another great one where, we were wiping and it was Saturday at 10 a.m. and we'd all have our breakfast cereal. And for the EU players that played with us, well, it was like dinner time for those guys. But we played Saturday at 10 a.m. We tried to get Onyxia, the server first kill, and we were so close. And I've shared so many stories of how we almost had the server first, but this damn priest and Power Word Shield, pulled so much threat and the tank lost threat and then Dragon breathed on our side and wiped the raid, and that was it. And damn you, Bethany, for wiping us. But that's the experience, right? Not that I got the very first Judgment Helm, right? Because we had this weird ass loot system back then. But yeah, it's those stories. And I'll give you guys another one. Most recently, Field Medic, right? I did Field Medic the other day. And yeah, it's a cool title. I love collecting unobtainable titles, and I love titles in general. So I love collecting that stuff, and it's going to be gone. Awesome. But it's not the title that is awesome, for me anyway. It's, hey, you know what? I did it with a couple of guildies and friends. And then I had Face, say, hey, I'm going to go help you farm this stuff. She logs in our boom kit and helps me. That's the kind of stuff that I'm going to remember, right? Finishing the last couple Field Medic things because of some friends. Mage Tower. I did Mage Tower Ret last night as well. So I've got the healing one from when it first came out. I did the tank one, I don't know, about a month ago, a couple weeks ago, and I did the Ret one yesterday. So I had one attempt off screen. I had a second one. I'm like, okay, I'm really tired. I'll show you guys this. Now, you know what? I might embarrass myself doing Ret because I don't play Ret. And so my stream here gave me all of the talents to run, what gear to choose, what to pull out of the bank, what to do basically. And they made it super simple. So I wiped the first time because I totally missed a stun. And the second time, they're the ones that helped me do it. And it's not, hey, I got this Mage Tower or this Red skin that I'm never going to use because I have a Corrupted Ashbringer. But it's these guys that helped me. That little memory, it was made. And for those of you that go to, the BlizzCons, the PAX, meeting people, it's those memories that you make. That's why we as content creators, we as people that go to BlizzCon, that's, I don't know, those are the memories that we're making. That's the stuff that is most important to us. That's the best part of the BlizzCon experience. It's not that I want to Razor Naga, because those mice are so awesome, at BlizzCon. It's because I met guildies. Now we had drinks, and I met, I had Grims in, which is one of my viewers here and Zeros to Heroes players. He shared pictures of my very first BlizzCon and meeting him. And then he shared me a picture of last year's BlizzCon when I was at the Con Before the Storm as a guest there. And, he introduced me to his family. And I remember this, but I didn't realize it was him. But that memory, that one person, showing his family to me, that made my night. I didn't have a lot of, visitors compared to like Automatic Jack and Sloopback, because those guys are, high-level celebrities. But for this guy to, introduce his family to me and, the people that came out there to support me, that made my night, right? Those experiences really made it for me. So why are these things important, right? I mean, yeah, we have Miranda, the experience. We had a guild house, a couple of years ago, last year, I can't remember when. We had a couple of guild houses. And so apparently she was teaching me how to make breakfast. The one lady doesn't know how to cook a steak, but apparently they were teaching me how to make scrambled eggs because I wasn't doing it properly, or I wasn't making them American made or whatever it was. But those are the awesome experiences that you're going to remember, right? Of your guildies and your friends and that kind of stuff. And no matter what happens with your guildies and your friends, those are the kinds of things that you remember. So again, why are these things important? Why am I spending time on this? Well, I'll give you some personal thoughts. I have a lot less time to play than before, right? I mean, I used to chase a ton of achievements, gear, transmog stuff. Like, listen, guys, if I installed that stupid add-on, Get Everything or whatever, what is it called, Midgets?
All the things.
All the things, yes. If I installed that right now, or if I had it, years ago, I would have totally gotten everything done. I would have been like 99% mostly done. But I don't have the same time. Like I partly is not the same time, part is the same desire, but it's what makes my time important, right? I've got a kid now who I want to spend lots of time with. I've got family responsibilities, 2 guilds, streaming, the podcast, rating. There's just not enough time for everything. We can do a whole different time management podcast because I've got a schedule, half hour this, half hour this. I've got guild interviews and podcast prep time, and there's just not enough time for everything. And as I've gotten older, I know a lot of the stuff that I have doesn't really matter, right? Like there's things that you have that trigger memories and trigger cool stuff. And, a lot of the Warcraft stuff I'll share to my kids sometimes and say, hey, look at this. I was an awesome little celebrity. And I've got like all these little autograph things. And I've got that big Ashburger behind me. And I've got, my Paladin crest and my wife's priest crest there. And we got some cool stuff that helps trigger a lot of those memories. And we can share those stories. But it's not that, hey, I got that Ashburn in the mail and whatever. But it's, it's a lot of the stuff that doesn't matter, right? It's the experiences that do. I've been wanting to quit this game for 14 years, but it's those experiences and the building of those experiences and memories that make it worth it. I care less about trying to get things and more about the experience and the journey. Right? It's a realization for me that took way too long to hit. I mean, to not chase ranks, to not chase a boss kill, but to do it on my own terms and not some other people's terms. And it's to enjoy the people that I play with, all of them, that aren't, these players that aren't frustrating me or giving me so much more work to do managing their various personalities or lack thereof. So when I do things now, I really prioritize the experience or that potential experience. That's the key. Potential experience when you are risking that time.
Well, and everybody's time is valuable. And what we want to do is spend that time with the people that we enjoy. As I was sitting here listening to some of the things you think, we've got 5 years of things that I just really enjoy. iMac Pie is one of my all-time favorites.
Oh my God, iMac Pie, that was so hilarious. I'm so glad that we have these Twitch memories, right? Like these Twitch clips and
it's
videos.
To be able to go back and see them, and the growths of the guilds and the personalities that come in and the experiences, and they're getting married. And I don't know if you saw Doka is now getting a new career and being a part of their lives and getting to see their kids grow up. And one of my most recent favorites has been the donut capers, you know, with Miranda's toddler. And there's all of these things that um you sit here and you go, I get great joys. There's been special moments. I can think of videos that have been put together for you, that the entire guild did put together, and
Mm-hmm.
the memory book for me. And there's just so much within our community and within our experiences. You know, even my Paragon team, I remember the funny things with them, and I haven't seen, you know, I still keep in touch with many of them, but I haven't rated on Paragon for at least what, 6 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are the things that are going to always make this a part of, it's not just a game, it's a community, it's friends, it's family, and you get to know people at levels that you probably wouldn't. Because if you think about it, you've got at least, if you're with a rating team, you've got at least 6 to 8 hours a week of seeing these people for years.
Exactly. That's a lot of time. And when I
Right.
started streaming, one of the first things I did was I asked my viewers, "Hey, give me any tier, give me any class. I will tell you a story about somebody and some awesome experiences, or really funny or bad experiences I've had with players, right? Whether they be apps or guildies or whatever." And I've got all these stories because of those experiences that were made, right? And all those memories that were made.
So how do we apply that to our guild environments? I mean, so much of being leadership is sometimes just enforcing the rules, so we look like the bad guys all the time.
Yeah,
Um,
and you know what?
so
Sometimes you have to be that bad guy. But I mean, as leaders, well, what do we do to ensure our players are getting a good experience, right? It's not that it's the leader's job to to make sure everybody has a happy, fun time. Well, you try your best, right? You try your best to make sure people are getting a good experience and building good memories, and that's part of the role we're volunteering for, right? It's not just for ourselves, right? What we're getting out of it is our own experiences and our own memories and that kind of stuff, but you know, part of it is leading by example, right? Everything that I've shared here with you guys, it's what I've done. So do the same, right? Build those same examples. These players here that helped make memories for me, right? That really affected my life, whether it was the field medic stuff or the mage tower or the BlizzCon experiences. Just do the same. It's just being being a good human being to somebody else and just having fun with people, right? So you need to try to ensure that in your raids, in your guilds, the players have something to do, and you really build that community. And that's it's a really vague answer, but have fun with them, give them something to do, right? It's not that
well, and do it with them.
exactly, or do it with them to build that experience, and that's what's going to make it fun, and that's what they're going to remember. And when you really build those bonds in a team, they're going to stick around forever. I love seeing the players that are retired now, and I see their life progress, and I see players going through different careers, or they're not players, they're friends now. They're going through different careers and they're building families. And I remember when, some of them were born for the first time, and now Relief's kid is like 9 years old or 10 years old. I don't know how long it's been. Yeah, I mean, she's old now, and it's crazy, right? And he came
Well,
to my wedding, and it was, yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you build, right? Like it's fantastic, and I'm lucky to be playing with a group of friends like this.
well, and I can think of fun times like, I now know that when you do Mythic Plus, you do not take all three mages. Matter of fact, you don't bring any mages, especially if they're fire mages, because they pull all the things.
Exactly.
I mean, you sit there and you have these memories of the people, and they become your friends, and you have these funny stories, and that's what it's about. And that's what keeps us coming back, because honestly, the bosses haven't changed that much. And we like to compete, we like to get all the pets, and we like to get all the achievements. But I had more fun getting field medic today with Aelid than I would have just doing it solo.
Exactly. Right. And I tell people every tier, yeah, these bosses are fine. And what new things could Blizzard really come up with that's going to surprise us, wow us, whatever. Cool lore stuff, fine. But all it is just it's the experience that you make with your guildies, right? That's the really fun stuff about it, right? It's those memories that you're making. So really, to close off, we have, I think, two big thoughts. Do you want to start with the first one?
Do we want to? I think we should leave out the first part, and I think we should just jump to the second part.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm a fan of the author Paulo Coelho. Um, Great books, and I've read a lot of them that he's written. Uh, One of the great quotes here that he has is "Be brave, take risks. Nothing can substitute experience." And back to the Mage Tower experience last night. You know, I could have done Mage Tower, the Ret Mage Tower, after I watched some videos, did some research on it, but I chose to ask my stream and get their feedback and suggestions. I risked embarrassing myself as a non-Ret player, but I got it on my second try with the stream, thanks to their help, and that was a memory made, right? Because these guys was blazing, it was a bunch of these guys that gave me those suggestions of that, and I remember who they are now. For those of you waiting, worried about joining a guild, or you've heard these amazing things about Death Jesters, Zeros to Heroes, the proof is in the channel and this podcast. You need to take risks to gain something, to gain a good experience, happiness, or a new home. Many players would not be here if it wasn't for the risks they took. And I certainly wouldn't be here. Guaranteed. I would not be here running the guilds, the podcast, the stream, had I not taken a chance 7 years ago and left my career, left my family behind, my friends behind, and I drove across the country for a girl I had met online and in person a few times. But here I am now, right? You know, with an amazing wife, a home, a career, and a wonderful 2-year-old, right? You need to take risks sometimes and do things that just make you happy.
And remember, everything takes a village. Don't journey alone.
Absolutely. I think we'll close out with that. Or are we going to close out with patch woes and just prepare you guys?
I think we prepared them for it. I think they'll prepare themselves. I'm hoping that we're wrong.
I hope
but
so.
I'm gonna. Yeah, I hope we have a
Underpromise Overdeliver, right? But you know what? If you do choose to raid or choose to log in on Tuesday, guess what? You will have some fun memories and fun experiences of patch 8.0. All right, and with that, we're going to head off for the evening. Thank you guys for listening, for watching. Again, give us your suggestions, bestinslotpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys. Tweet us, all that stuff. We'll be here for the after show afterwards as well. Have a good night. Be excellent to each other. And as always, live your life heroically. Have a fantastic evening.